Happy Thursday, Tallahassee. I'm student meteorologist Genevieve Rejock with your wonderful weather for tonight. Check out that sun peeking through the clouds. It's setting. We see a little bit of pink right there, some cotton candy possibly popping up, but 80 degrees, pretty warm. Punxsutawney Phil. I don't know what you're saying, but it certainly isn't winter. We have some relief with some winds coming out south-southwest, 11 miles per hour, but really, it's quite warm. You see this orange color. We're getting warmer on the scale up there. 80 degrees here in Tallahassee. If you're down by the coast of Apalachicola, you're looking a little bit nicer with 73 degrees. But for precipitation, we're looking pretty clear. All that we see on this radar is a controlled fire from Apalachicola National Forest. So don't be wary of that. We shouldn't be seeing any rain for now. But for tonight's amazing show, we are roasting here in Tallahassee. Really warm conditions. Unlike Los Angeles, Southern California, where we're seeing our first blizzard since 1989. And baseball fans, we have some incredible weather for you. All that on tonight's show.
That's right. Thank you, Genevieve, and welcome to tonight's show. I'm student meteorologist Aaron. So we're here to open up a really warm show today as we had those temperatures up in the actual middle 80s today. We hit 84 degrees today at Tallahassee International Airport. So quite the day here, quite the scorcher across not just Tallahassee, but across much of the southeast. But we're also going to talk about a blizzard warning yesterday in Southern California. Whoever would have thought that? Over the past, actually, if I'm not mistaken, it actually hasn't happened over the past couple of decades across Southern California. So certainly a tale of two stories here across much of the nation. But again, taking things back home here, we're talking about those drier conditions that are going to continue over the next several days or so, that warmer conditions, those drier conditions. So we don't expect much in the way of any rainfall over the next week or so as we have that dominant ridge that's just staying in place, locked and loaded here across much of the southeast. And what's enabling us is just to have those days are going to get upwards of into the middle 80s as we get into today, or I should say tomorrow and into the weekend. And also even into parts of southern Florida, they might even touch 90 degrees in February. What is that? That shouldn't be allowed here. But it is going to get pretty warm across much of the state and for much of the southeast for that matter. And we'll have to watch these long-term models to see exactly how they actually show the movement of the ridge. And of course, with any cold fronts that might come to the area, and maybe as we get into March, or perhaps some indications where we could see a little bit of a pattern shift to or over towards more of a cold pattern across much of the southeast, but we'll have to watch more on that. But Jason, how hot is it going to get tomorrow and through this weekend?
So yeah, it's going to be extremely hot. Like right now, it's 80 degrees, extremely warm, especially around 6 o'clock. We're seeing sunset, and it's already still 80 degrees. Mostly cloudy, and it's still 80 degrees. And you expect that you see that temperature maybe if it's partly cloudy or mostly sunny, but mostly cloudy today, and it was 80 degrees. That's crazy. Winds are around 11 miles an hour, but this is what you're talking about before. We actually broke the record today. 83 is our record. 1996, already beat it at 84, and that's not going to be, that is the pattern for this week because we're going to be breaking or maybe tying a lot of records later. I'll show you that later in the show. Right now, temperatures are around 80 degrees, and it's going to be around maybe a little less in Thomasville and Valdosta, but it's going to be very nice degrees. Just maybe in St. Mark's. I want to go to St. Mark's. 73 degrees sounds very nice. But dew points are that's where it's going to be really muggy because right now it feels very muggy in Tallahassee. 68 degrees of dew point there, and Thomasville 64, so maybe a little less muggy as you get north, but still pretty muggy. And that leads to the heat index because when the dew point plus the temperature gets added to each other, that's going to be creating a heat index, which is basically the temperature we're feeling outside. 83, so it doesn't really change much in Tallahassee and just around our area, but it's still something to talk about because we have those high dew points. Looking at the current radar, just completely clear around Tallahassee right now, but we're seeing those, that huge fire. You can see that just fire go over Tallahassee. You guys probably smelled it and saw the sun turn red, which is kind of cool, but we're going to see those smokes right around here from those fires, those controlled fires, so nothing to worry about right now. Future radar just showing us some clouds over us on Friday, maybe some fog. I'll be talking about that just a little bit later. And it's going to be a pretty great day with some southerly winds bringing in that moisture. Tonight, though, it's going to be getting down to 67. Not really much of a temperature change, but it's going to be very nice and kind of dense fog tomorrow, though. As I was saying before, it's until Friday around 10, so make sure you guys are prepared when you're driving, because that's going to be very hard to drive. Remember not to use your brights when you are driving, because that is bad for other people I'm driving. Sorry about that. And looking at the dog walk forecast, as I was saying, walking, it's going to be 67 in the morning and then get up to 77. So it's not really much of a temperature change. It's going to be a great day to walk your dog because it's not going to be too much. You just might be sweating a lot more because of that dew point. But tomorrow's forecast actually going to be warming up for our area. Bainbridge is going to be 85 and just going to be Valdosta, and that may be 86. That's extremely warm, especially in February. As Anna was saying earlier, the week ahead, we're going to be probably going to be breaking some records and not going to be too much rain in the forecast. But let's zoom out a bit and talk about Florida. Isn't that right, Genevieve?
Yeah, absolutely, Jason. And also, I mean, we're seeing that 7-day, we're seeing clouds come in throughout the rest of the week. And I did want to point out, Jason was wearing a stunning cloud tie. I don't know if you saw the little white clouds on it, but I think it's pretty cool. I'm a big fan of cloud ties, personally. But yeah, let's take our look around Florida. Let's see these beautiful weather sim cameras where we'll see pretty nice sunsets all across the board. Orlando, camera's tilted just a little bit up, but we do have the sun peeking through our other two cameras. Daytona Beach, that's a pretty nice location because that's where our dear producer Evan will be driving tomorrow as he visits his wonderful brother and family in Daytona Beach. Embry-Riddle, great university. We love producer Evan O'Regan. And yeah, so that beautiful conditions are going to persist down through the state. We'll see that current satellite and radar showing us no high pressure system located just near Florida, but off to the east into the Atlantic there is a high pressure system. So really we have pretty decent conditions for the whole state. Let's start at the bottom, beautiful South Florida, my home. You're looking pretty dry. Miami, I know personally Thursday is a big night for museums, so the Perez Art Museum is my favorite place to go to. Also, yeah, if you want to check out maybe South Beach, that's a pretty nice place. I'm sure it's popping tonight, as it always is. And throughout Central Florida, so if you are thinking of wrapping up your day in Disney or Universal, it's pretty nice conditions to do so. Tallahassee here, I think it's really nice out. It is a little warm. If you are up north of Panama City, you might see a spotty shower or two, but for the most part, we should be dry for tonight. No need for an umbrella. Feel free to hit the town. Current conditions for the whole state, we're looking quite red. You see that red as that bar inches through 80 degrees and closer to 90. That's where we're looking for the whole peninsula and into the panhandle. Just cooling down just slightly, just about 5 degrees, but really lower 80s, upper 70s throughout the whole state. And those dew points aren't giving us too much relief either. You see the map here is really quite green, making it for really moist conditions, really high dew point. Really, I mean, it feels like summer. It's definitely not winter, but you know what it is. We just skipped spring as well, might as well. That future radar we'll see pretty clear as we go throughout the next couple days into Saturday. Looks pretty nice. We will see some clouds, but the cloud tie, I mean, it's necessary, so it's pretty nice conditions, I would say. Tomorrow's forecast will stay on that really warm and slightly scorching predictions of, you know, some warm weather. And for our baseball fans, I mentioned this earlier, the Tampa Bay Rays, which Jason is a big fan, we will be starting our spring training in Fort Myers by 1:05 p.m. It'll be really warm, so make sure you keep your water bottle, stay hydrated. Also at the same time in Northport, so a little bit further, but not too much, we have our Monday producer's favorite team, the Atlanta Braves, playing as well. We also see some 85s at the time of the game. I'm not too proficient in baseball myself, I apologize. I would say a batter or something like that, but really. Nice conditions as well for our dear producer Evan's favorite team, the Yankees, playing in Clearwater, Florida, so really nice, as well as the Miami Marlins. Not sure how great they are, but they will also be playing at 6:10 p.m. in Port St. Lucie. But southeast, let's go a little more north. Is there any kind of weather that's sticking out, Aaron?
Well, as we batter up the southeast here, we will see perhaps some snowfall as we go further north, but at least staying with the southeast here, we do see some of the cloud cover affecting much of the area here with all of our cameras here. So from about Tampa over to Clemson And down towards about the Miami area, we have those cloudier conditions, those rainfall conditions, perhaps especially over towards Clemson, where they have a spotty shower in place. But it is a roast out there. We have 80s across the board, even as far north as Jackson, Mississippi, 86 degrees. That is pretty warm for this time of year here in mid-February, or mid to late February, I should say now. But you can kind of see if you're playing spot the cold front's just about here in Arkansas, where we have that 68 in Little Rock, and behind it, those frigid temperatures back up into the northern plains. But down over towards much of the Gulf Coast, we are staying in the 80s, and we may even hit some 90s tomorrow in places in central Florida, so about or east of 75 and about west of 95 tomorrow. So our current dew points, as Genevieve mentioned earlier, we are staying in those muggy-like conditions we'll be seeing in the summertime here, so those upper 60s to low 70s. It's that air you can wear here. So 70 in New Orleans, 60 or 62 in Jacksonville, and that 48. So that's more chapstick weather as you go towards Little Rock, but elsewhere we're staying pretty muggy in the 60s and 70s. And for our satellite and radar here, and again, if you didn't see before, where the cold front was at is located right here from about central Tennessee down towards about the Texas Gulf Coast, where we have a divide in the climate here, where we have that warm, that soupy air here down across the southeast, and that cool, more seasonable-like air across much of the southern plains there. And we have those upper-level clouds that are streaming in from the south ahead of that cold front. Now, that cold front won't make its way down to our neck of the woods this weekend. However, it might perhaps provide a few of those nice sunsets this weekend with those overhead cirrus clouds, allowing for those really nice nights. So if you are heading out to the beach this weekend, really nice weekend to do so. So for our drought monitor, we do have a little bit of a drought here across, at least across Florida, especially across the Florida Peninsula here, where we are in that moderate risk of a drought from about Gainesville north to about the state line there. And then for most, or the rest of Florida, we're staying with those, with that just abnormally dry spell here. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're going to see much in the way of rainfall over the next several days to help with that, as we have a high pressure ridge in place mostly across the Atlantic Ocean, but that ridge axis does extend off towards the Gulf of Mexico. And with that, we have those showers are going to arc over much of the region here, and they're going to go over into places like perhaps Raleigh and northward from there. However, our tomorrow's forecast, we do expect those warm conditions to continue with 89 degrees in Orlando. That is really hot, Jason. How do you see that, honestly, with your next segment?
Well, my next segment is the exact opposite of very hot. It's going to be actually, as soon as I get to it, it's going to be, I don't know. I'm going to be talking about the Midwest. Here we go, finally. Sorry. My computer sometimes glitches out. But the last 48 hours, ooh, satellite radar. Let's go here now. So this is not my segment at all, but I'm going to keep talking about it until Evan gets to my next segment. But wow, starboard is going to be 10 inches. I think Genevieve's going to be talking about that a little later, but that is still really a lot. And there we go. This is what I like to see. Midwest, it's going to be, Marshall's going to be around 18 inches of snow. So exactly the exact opposite of what Aaron was talking about, because it is extremely cold weather, lots of snow. You can see this huge band right here. That's really cool to see. Like if you go just maybe 100 miles north, 100 miles south, you can get less. It's just crazy to see that, especially living in Florida. We're going to see some winter weather alerts right now. Some blizzard warnings around here. That's when the wind is very around 35 miles an hour and up. And some winter storm warnings are just some very high snow values we're seeing, and winter weather advisories around the tip of Michigan. Looking around the satellite and radar, we're seeing that snow just around in Wisconsin, and then most likely just going to start dumping that snow all over this Midwest area. And that's going to be not going to be great for most of them, because most of them, they don't like snow like we do. Looking at future radar, we're going to be seeing that snow actually move towards the northeast, and getting to our next segment, which you probably saw earlier, which is the northeast. Snowfall still to come, though. All up in the Midwest, we're going to be seeing maybe 2 or 3 inches, so not too much. They already went through the worst of it, but wind chill alerts right now, that's the part that's really scary, because it's going to be extremely cold after these snow bands. I'm sorry. And wow, I'm 37 in Fargo. I saw that and it just went away. But and then Bismarck is going to be negative 29. That's extremely cold wind chill, so do not go outside, because you will get frostbite. I mean, according to a Floridian, but it's going to be extremely cold, and then everywhere in the Midwest. I do not want to live there. I know most people don't want to live there who live there, but it sounded like a great idea. Let's maybe move on to the Northeast where most people actually do live.
That's right. We also do have a really frosty Northeast here as we move into that segment here, as we also do have winter weather alerts here across the Northeast. We have those winter weather advisories primarily across upstate New York over towards Michigan, or sorry, over towards Massachusetts and Connecticut and over into New Hampshire and Vermont. We also have those winter weather alerts over towards, Bangor, over towards most of Maine here at this current hour. And we do have those snow showers that will intermittently come through much of upstate New York from about Albany northward on. If you're taking that road or that drive up Interstate 87, perhaps towards Canada, you might see perhaps some ice and then transitioning into some snow here later on. And then same story over towards Bangor into upstate Maine, where we do have some snowfall at this current hour. We'll zoom out a little bit further out. We have those snow showers intermittently here across the mitten of Michigan over towards Wisconsin, where we do have perhaps some light snowfall. So nothing really too heavy. As we look at our future radar here, we'll see that system that will continue off towards the east here. We'll perhaps see some on or off snow showers continuing from about Boston and the rest of the New England coastline here over the next day or so. And for that snowfall forecast, we do have perhaps about half a foot of some snow possible, maybe even some higher amounts as you go towards far eastern Maine into perhaps Nova Scotia, where it could be about 10 inches of snowfall. And if we'll look at that ice fall here a little bit further towards our south here, we do have the potential for some icing on the roadways, specifically north of Boston, so Lowell, Hampton, over towards Keene, where they could perhaps see around 0.10 inches of ice. So do watch out for that black ice if you are traveling out on the roadways or just out and about there across Massachusetts. And those temperatures will begin to tumble down here over the next several hours to about days or so, where we have those cold temperatures coming in and building in behind the cold front here. So 0 in Portland, 2 below in Burlington, and 7 in Albany. So these are really cold temperatures, and when you add that wind chill, as Jason was mentioning earlier, we could see those really dangerous conditions where we do run the risk of perhaps some hypothermia. This is it's not how cold it was a few weeks ago here across New England, but it is still really cold predominantly across much of the area. And speaking of cold weather safety, Genevieve, how do we actually prepare for this or these winter weather type events?
So Aaron, there's actually a lot more than you think that goes into preparing for a winter storm, and also not only preparing for it, but cleaning up after it. There's a lot that goes into the snow that is going to pop up. And you know, I will say, if there's one advice I'm going to give you, it's going to be bend with the knees. Use your knees, don't bend at the back to shovel snow. But let's get into some of those tips to prepare you and keep you safe during this winter storm. So stay indoors if possible, absolutely. That's always the key piece of information. But if you do need to get outside, please try and be careful with the snow plows. We want to make sure that those wonderful people that do their jobs, that they have the ability and the time to do so without any interruptions, as well as those who salt the roads, which is really also important. If you do plan to use a generator to stay warm, please try and keep that outside the house, because once it is inside the house, that could cause a risk for carbon monoxide poisoning, and that, of course, is not something we want. Also, monitor those space heaters, things indoors, because that can also get really quite dangerous. And really, shoveling snow is not very safe. It actually accounts for just about 100 deaths in a year and just a little low of 12,000 injuries, so really quite a lot. And like I was saying earlier, when you are shoveling that hopefully light snow, don't want to shovel the heavier ice snow, please don't lift with your back, use your legs. And if the snow is deep, try and use a shovel blade to try and really cut at that ice, break it up so that it's lighter for you to shovel, and shovel at the knees, of course. But yeah, it's really something that you need to watch out for. Please, when you do shovel, please do it in layers so that you can remove those layers and stay hydrated as best as possible, because it really is an exercise after all. And, you know, snow is coming. Where is snow coming, Jason? Anywhere specific? Something about Hollywood, maybe?
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's going down right now. You can see LA is just right around here. It's just maybe 50 miles north, or maybe less than that. We're seeing blizzard warnings, so it's crazy that the National Weather Service really never does blizzard warnings, and they issued one. Even San Diego National Weather Service issued a blizzard warning, which is crazy. We're seeing extreme winter weather happening right now, especially even the WPC issued a flood potential right here around Los Angeles. So definitely not what they're used to, because they're used to a very dry climate, not too much rain, and they're going to be having a moderate chance of flooding. Looking at the water vapor, this is why. There right now, you can see the low pressure system right around here dumping lots of snow over Portland right now. And that system will be moving just south. It's really weird how it's moving. It's going to be moving down the coast of the West Coast. And we're seeing that rain all around it, even the snow just going all the way around either just the northwest right now. And it's going to be moving through, it's going to be moving down actually. I don't know why the remote's not working. There we go. Sorry about that. I know it happens twice for me this time. You're going to be moving. You can see all the mountains on the east of California right now. San Francisco just getting some rain, so not too much weather there. But you're seeing even on the coast of California, they're getting snow. That's crazy. I've seen some really crazy pictures of that. And this is what we're really is important, because you're seeing all these rain showers, even snow showers up in the higher altitudes of Southern California. That's where they're getting that snow. And as we zoom into LA, you can see that snow just coming right off the coast of the West Coast, and it's causing some snow, causing some rain. That's going to be some dangerous conditions for them, because they're not used to it right now. This is it's really cool to see. We're going to be seeing some the snowfall of the last 48 hours. You're seeing that huge line right here, 48 inches. I want you to remember that, because that's really important to see what it is right now and what it's going to be later. And also Wrightwood, it's only 6 inches right now, but that's going to be changing, because, as I was saying before, that low pressure moving all the way through our system, all the way down the West Coast, and also LA. LA is going to be 34 miles an hour. That's showing for some blizzard-type conditions, especially if it's going to be snowing. And it will be snowing just maybe north or south of that area. And Mammoth Lakes, maybe 5, so there's not going to be too much, but snowfall forecast. This is what I really want to break down, because this is really cool to see. Up in Weed, it's going to be 15 inches. Norvell, go Knowles, it's going to be 17 inches. And I just moved over because I wanted you to see this. Mammoth Lake, as I said before, 46 extra inches. That's crazy. Whitewood, it was only 6 inches. So that's 71 inches just in the next, I don't know, maybe 7 or 4 days. That's crazy. It's a lot of snow. And I know you're not going to really be used to it in the lifestyle, but it's still really cool to see how much snow it is going to be on the West Coast.
Right, and nonetheless in Southern California, and nonetheless here across over the next several days until Sunday here across California. But taking things back closer to home here, we do have those cloudy conditions in store across all our area cameras across the Panhandle. So Sportsplex, Panama City, Lake Bradford, and St. George Island, all kind of a dreary afternoon and evening to close out your Thursday here. But things will get better, of course, as we have that sunshine will come out tomorrow. But overnight tonight, if you are perhaps heading out to College Town, we will see those temperatures not really moving very much, perhaps in the upper 60s. So, I mean, but also really humid too. So probably not much in the way of any type of sweater kind of weather, but overall still pretty humid, pretty muggy across the night, across much of the area. So if you're heading out to the beach tomorrow and over at Panama City Beach, we will see those winds out of the south at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. The UV index at 7, so make sure you do apply that sunscreen on, as it could still burn you here. And then surf about 4 feet or so. There is a high rip current risk, so do watch out if you are swimming out on the water there, and make sure you swim parallel to the coastline so you don't get caught in those rip currents there over the water. And for a softball doubleheader tomorrow with FSU versus Lamar here here on campus, and also versus FGCU at 4:45 there. Those temperatures will bottom out into a low 70s by the time we get to about 8 p.m. tomorrow. So overall, not bad conditions if you are heading out to watch some softball. And same thing too on Saturday, where we have those temperatures that will drop down into the low 70s here. So again, same story, rinse and repeat here. And baseball over in Fort Worth, Texas. Don't forget, Fort Worth, Texas, not Tallahassee here. That's why we see those temperatures down to 44 degrees on Friday, and that's not going to be the case here in Florida. And however, those will begin to warm up quite nice as we get into Sunday here over much of the weekend there in Fort Worth. And as for women's basketball Sunday here at Clemson in South Carolina, we will see those temperatures drop down into the 60s from the low 70s here over the course of the day as we do watch and cheer on the Lady Knowles with basketball. And for here for Weekend Planner, we do see those temperatures will for the most part stay in the middle 80s, so still a hot one over the next several days. So make sure you do take those precautions, drink some water if you're heading out to watch any of the games. But Genevieve, do you have any plans this weekend to watch softball perhaps?
Maybe not softball, but I do have some plans tonight. After the show, I'm just going to get dinner with a friend, and I'm really looking forward to it because normally as the sun goes down, it gets a little chillier. But tonight, this is a Miami girls conditions. This is the weather that I live for. The 80 degrees, mostly cloudy right now. That's really stunning to me. Maybe not to everyone in the room, but as Aaron was saying, please carry that water bottle on you. I know I have mine because it is going to be pretty warm, kind of summer-like, and I know it is winter. That is the theme here. Summer-like conditions to persist throughout the Big Bend region. 80 in Tallahassee, Apalachicola slightly better at 73, but you'll see this orange color as we progress closer to the red on the bar with the temperatures inching closer into 85 and over. Something we've been pointing out a good couple of times throughout the show on our radars for Florida is the contained fire in Apalachicola National Forest. So though that is not something you need to worry about, just for you to know, that is not rain. No precipitation is going to be occurring tonight. Something to keep in mind is the dense fog advisory that is in effect for the Tallahassee region till 10 a.m. tomorrow. So please, as you are driving, please keep that in mind and be careful. Drive slow as best as you can. Tonight, for when you're getting dinner, 66 degrees. Carry a jacket maybe, but that jacket is not really needed for the daytime. Throughout the rest of the week and going into the weekend, it's going to be quite warm. Jason, warm weather. What do you think?
I don't like it. It's too early. It's February. I know it's late February, but still, it needs to be a lot colder. I moved here from Tampa. I wanted this cold weather. We really didn't get too much of it. We got enough of it, but it's still really nice. I know you really like it in Miami because it's more what you're used to and you don't really like the cold as much. But I wanted the cold weather, and it's just kind of disappointing to see. But maybe I should just go, I don't know, to California, and they're going to be seeing lots of snow there. I'll just go to one of the mountains with 70 inches in the next 4 days, which is still crazy. I'm still hung up on it because how crazy that is. And I know all of the Midwest is going to be freezing, so if I want to get cold weather, I'll go there. But right now, this weekend is going to be pretty nice. And if you don't like cold weather, I know that's where we live here. That's why most of you guys want to live in Florida for this warm weather, which is still going to be lingering around for us for over the next maybe a week, week and a half. And that probably won't change anytime soon, which I know I really don't like. But follow us on Twitter at FSU Weather. And then also follow us on Facebook. Like us on Facebook at FSU Weather. And then watch us on YouTube. It's going to be really nice to see you guys on YouTube, maybe talking to chat some, and then follow us on Instagram at FSU Weather. And then one other thing, follow us on TikTok because we've been making lots of TikToks recently, which is great to promote our show and everything like that. But I'm actually going to send it to Aaron to close out the end of the show and talk about the next 7 days.
That's right. We're talking warm, warm, warm here. Or sorry, I should say hot, hot, hot here over the next several days or so as we have those temperatures in the middle 80s to start off your weekend and into actually to end your work or end your weekend here and then into the early part of next week where we could potentially get close and flirt with those record temperatures there. But overall, stay warm, stay hydrated, and stay cool, Tallahassee.